Last week, the U.S. Surgeon General announced a growing epidemic sweeping the nation: loneliness. In an 80-page advisory, Dr. Vivek Murthy says half of U.S. adults experience measurable loneliness, and it's greater among young adults. Now, Murthy says loneliness not only increases your risk of depression, anxiety, and suicide, it also increases your risk of heart disease at 29%, stroke by 35%, and among older adults, dementia by 50%. Those are deeply troubling numbers. Now, the doctor says that loneliness is as deadly as smoking 15 cigarettes every day. So this Wellness Wednesday, we are on your side with some help on how to combat loneliness. As always, Mary Jo Horton is here to help us navigate why so many of us experience loneliness and how to make some healthy connections. So Mary Jo, let's just start. In your role as manager of behavioral health at Memorial Health, are you seeing this increase in loneliness?
Yes, and it's not just loneliness in terms of lack of connection, it's physical isolation combined with the loneliness that is particularly dangerous.
Okay, so that's the physical isolation, which would then mean, and I know we bring up social media a lot, but you're not getting that connection you need.
You're not. It's the social media, it's the working from home, it's all these ways that we found to isolate ourselves.
So it's important to have that in-person connection, face-to-face. Is there a difference between, is there acute and chronic loneliness, would you say?
Yes, I would. When it's like depression, right? We can get in these kind of funks where we are experiencing something acute, but chronic loneliness is where you're going to see your health outcomes look very poor. We are wired to be physically touched, to interact, to have emotional intimacy and space with one another.
Yeah, you hear that all the time. Humans are wired for that. We are meant to interact. But for some people, it's harder, you know, and not just a shyness thing. You don't like crowds, or you don't like, you know, getting out in an activity with people.
The problem is that the more that you don't do it, the harder it is then to do.
So you need to force yourself.
So you need to force yourself, because the more that you give your brain evidence and data that these experiences are not as scary and as terrible as I thought, it'll be easier to overcome those emotions. I
want to talk about the difference between, you know, the physical connection and then emotional connection, because we talked face-to-face is important, not over social media. Emotional, can you get that through social media?
I don't think so. Here's how I see it. When you're conversating with somebody, you're having an authentically genuine experience that you can't craft. When you can type out, edit, resend, figure out how you want to say it, shape your response. It's not an engaging back and forth.
You're actually creating a narrative is what you're doing. And we do a lot of that in our society.
And you're not reading someone's body language when they are hearing what you have to say, which is why I really think it contributes to people being so mean. Because when you see somebody physically react, even a loved one, right? And if you're having conflict and they retract or recoil or get emotional, you know, hopefully you're attuned to them and you can shift it.
You pick up on that cue.
Right. But in social media, or even when we're texting our loved ones, we're lacking some of the genuine connection, validation, and authenticity by not having the actual face-to-face and voice-to-voice.
So you think we've gotten meaner? Because I do.
I think we've gotten very mean. And I think that part of it is we don't really realize the impact of what we're saying, because we are slightly removed from the effects of what we are saying.
Okay, I get that. All right, let's talk about some ways to make some healthy connections. So you say prioritize non-tech connection. We've been talking about that, and in-person interaction. Prioritize it.
So this is actually putting it on the schedule. Planning for it and doing it.
All right, scheduling in, I need to interact with people today. Okay, join a group.
With people I'm going to be accountable for. I can't back out of that plan.
So joining groups and activities that nurture the whole self, that's a part of that. You're scheduling that in.
You're scheduling that in, and you want to do it in a way that people are relying on you to be there. So if you get anxious, you're not so keen to back out.
I do that to myself a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you have to go.
You got to go.
You got to go. Okay, all right. So then the last one here, tune in with your physical cues to your emotions, such as,
yes.
so this is paying attention to your
body. Do you know that people will have symptoms of heart attacks for a prolonged period of time and not know?
Come on.
Our bodies are communicating with us. We experience our life in our body. So if we're starting to be anxious, if we're starting to be sad, think about what depression feels like.
Yeah.
Depression feels heavy, and connection and removing isolation is going to help that physical feeling.
Depression does feel heavy.
It's
does.
painful.
It's hard to get out of bed. It literally feels heavy.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Mary Jo, thank you so much. If you want to watch any of our segments, because we've talked about loneliness before, but this is a whole different kind of loneliness we're talking about. You can go to wsav.com/wellness Wednesday, and we did mention suicide in this, and so I want to say that Suicide and Crisis Helpline is 988 if you are feeling suicidal thoughts or you feel in danger or at risk. Tina?